and I feel great. And this joy I feel, I was like, I want to share it. So it's just so sustainable. And I feel like you marketing it as sustainable is the best thing ever because most diets are not sustainable. This is a lifestyle. And that's what I tell everyone who sees me eating in the break room or sees the progress. I said, this is a lifestyle, not a diet, not a fad, not a temporary thing. So it's been crazy and I absolutely love it.
Do you struggle to stay consistent with healthy eating and just want food decisions to be easy, guilt-free, and sustainable? You're in the right place. Hi, I'm Chelsea, nutritionist and fitness coach who overcame restrictive yo-yo dieting and body image insecurities using simple nutrition tools, all backed by biblical principles. And now I help women like you find that same freedom with food so you can feel confident in the look and health of your body for decades to come. I'm ready to dive in with you. So grab that cute notebook you've been hanging on to and let's go. On today's episode, I chat with Angelica Frazer. She's a veterinary technician and fur mama of 3. She's also a U.S. Navy wife who loves to be active and feel strong and fit. Angelica is a graduate of The Sustainable Way, my one-on-one nutrition coaching program, who went from trying all the diets, constantly having setbacks with those tempting break room treats, and feeling stuck in a body that was not getting toned despite all of her efforts, to now feeling like her strongest, fittest self ever. She is completely in control of her food choices, not even tempted by the treats at work, and now exudes so much confidence that even her coworkers have noticed. Make sure you listen through to the end as she talks about how this has become her lifestyle, not just another quick fix fad diet. And she gives her best piece of advice to those of you who are feeling like she used to before the sustainable way. So here we go. All right, Angelica, I'm so excited that you are here. Thank you for taking the time to be on nutrition for Christian women. Let's just start off. Who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Angelica. I live with my husband in the military, and I have 2 dogs and a cat. We love to go paddleboarding, be outdoorsy, trying to stay active, even when I don't want to be active sometimes. But I love to work with animals. So I'm actually a veterinary nurse. I work in urgent care, love to help with surgery. So long days, long shifts, which really was not helpful for me trying to stay on track with nutrition and fitness. I was like, how am I supposed to work 12-hour shifts and still work out and still eat healthy when I just want to grab fast food on the way home? So all my life was trying to look at how to be fit, how to be healthy, wasn't quite getting there. And so I found your program and I was like, okay, this is something that is sustainable. It's a person who I know and I see as a role model. And I could see your results living it out. And I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. So here I am today, and I'm really happy with where I am.
Okay, well, you answered all my questions. This is great. I hope you have a great rest of your day. No, this is awesome. So you are a young adult woman, married. You are a pet mom. You work long hours in the veterinary field. I mean, you got a lot going on, but you also have this internal drive to be the healthiest version of yourself, to steward your body. We met at church, so I know you walk with the Lord. Talk to me more about where you were in your health and fitness journey when you discovered my nutrition coaching program.
Yeah. So I was on the rabbit hole of Google and looking for anything that would work. And I wasn't thinking right because I was like, I need something fast, fast results. Losing weight in 30 days, losing weight in 10 days, hopping on the poppy trend with Olipop and everything like that. And so I was trying out different fads, different diets. I tried the Victoria's Secret like angel diet. I tried just juice cleanses, but nothing was sustainable. And it was a lot of work because my goal is like, I'm already busy. My lifestyle is crazy as it is. And I don't want to have like my life revolve around food. So having to come home and turn on the blender or prep 15 different ingredients just for one small meal and it doesn't carry over into another meal was not sustainable. And so I've been seeing your content on Instagram. Obviously, I followed you. I was like, oh, Chelsea's bringing up really good points. And so I started trying to implement some of them on my own. And I realized I am not the person who can get along on my own. I am the person who needs someone to tell me what to do and guide me so that I can make my own decisions because the main thing I want is something sustainable. I want something that will last long term instead of this up and down yo-yo roller coaster of watching my weight, watching my muscle mass go up and down. And so I was like, you know what? Chelsea has sustainable results. I was looking at what you had on Instagram and what you advertised on your website. I was seeing the reviews, looking at pictures of other women. And I was like, I want to be that person. I want to be an example to other people. I want to get my life in order. And I don't want to do any more juice blends. The craziest one was like a tuna berry shake for every single meal. Sounds
What?
exactly what it is. Tuna and berries blended in a shake, and I had that for every meal for 30 days.
Oh my gosh.
Not sustainable.
No.
Don't recommend. 0 out of 10.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you've had a journey with it. You've tried all the things, and sustainability really was kind of the missing key, it sounds like. I know that you waited a bit before, actually reaching out and joining. You're kind of watching on the sidelines for a while, which is totally fine. I do that too. What was the catalyst that pushed you past the hesitation and actually decided, like, this is the thing for me?
I think it just weighed on my heart more than anything. Like I felt like it was a calling, like, you know what? I have her as a friend, as like a coach, as a mentor, and she's offering so many resources, and I just need to ask for help. And that was the hardest thing for me because I'm the type of person who does it on my own. I like to research things first and be like well educated. And I was like, okay, well education has got me where I am to like where I was at that point, which was nowhere. So the weight was still the same. I was like, okay, I'm not happy with it. I need help. And so I talked to my husband. I said, look, I'm thinking of hiring Chelsea as my coach for nutrition. And he said, that's a brand new approach. You haven't done that before. I said, I know. I'm kind of scared, but I'm kind of ready because I think that's something I need in my life is that push, that accountability.
Mhm.
And I don't regret it.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I think especially those of us who tend to be just high achievers in general and a little more on the independent side and kind of like to do things we can figure it out. We'll find a way. Sometimes it's hard for us to accept that the best way sometimes is to have the coach, have the person with their hand out, the accountability. We don't always have to do things 100% on our own, forging our own way. Sometimes that's just not what the Lord wants from us. So I'm proud of you for taking that step. I'm honored to be the person that you reached out to. I would love if you would share with us about your experience inside the program. I'm really curious about what made it different than everything that you tried before, and what were the parts that really solidified your success?
Yeah, I think something that made it different, first of all, was the calorie counting. There is no calorie counting. I'm not trying to count macros or fats. I'm not reading nutrition labels. And that's all I did on every other diet was reading nutrition labels, making sure I was burning off calories. Like you had mentioned on one of your previous podcasts, how one of the sustainable ways is not chasing the calories. Like, oh, if I eat this, I can bike for 20 minutes and work it off. I didn't want to do that anymore. And so for me, the biggest change to this program was seeing that there are so many different natural foods out there that is so good for you without preservatives that you never feel guilty eating them. And that's the biggest thing. I'll feel guilty eating a big bag of like fat chips and ice cream and Oreos that are just processed, but finding wholesome chips, wholesome ice cream, wholesome like cookies that are either like gluten free or involve anything that you have said, like once walked, once swam, once flew, or grew from this earth, I feel like I'm eating what God intended me to eat. So my body just overall feels better. It sounds really weird, but it's like, okay, when you haven't been to church in a long time and you're back on it, you're like, okay, this feels great. I need to stick with it. Why did I leave in the first place? That's how I feel about eating natural foods. Now that's all I crave to where even at like my job, we always have food out in the break room. Everyone's bringing whatever they can find in their pantry. And it's not tempting to me at all. If someone bringing like donuts or someone bringing something processed, something that I know is not beneficial for me on my nutrition journey, I have no desire to eat it. And that's something that was really life-changing for me with this program because on the other ones, once I got off of it, I went back to the old ways.
Mhm.
Versus this one, I've been on this program. I'm now in the graduate club. Like I completed it and I'm still continuing it to this day. And I'm just getting better and better. And so this program has really been something different.
Wow. You mean there are things such as healthy chips that those exist?
Yeah, healthier. I would say the avocado oil ones or even just siete
Mhm.
chips,
Mhm.
tortilla chips.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Yes, I love it. I love it. So, where are you now? You're in the graduates club. You've completed the full program. Where are you now with your success story?
Yeah, so I'm honestly just maintaining keeping up with everything. And it's not like a chore, it's not like a homework. I feel like it's very different from the other programs and trying to maintain it. I'm just getting better. I'm enhancing it.
Mm.
And so something that I'm doing is making sure I'm keeping up with my sleep schedule, things I've learned through the graduates program, checking my pantry just to make sure I didn't accidentally buy something funky. And where I am at the program right now is I'm building the muscle. So I have the foundations, I have the ingredients. I've set myself up for success by only having wholesome food and snacks in my cubby at work or even here at home when I'm by myself, to where now I'm just monitoring and just keeping up with balancing working out, work life, and I don't know. I guess food, but I don't want to say I'm balancing food because I'm not worshiping it. It's not something that I have to keep at the forefront of my mind. It's just kind of there.
That sounds like food freedom, if you ask me.
Yes,
Um,
very much so.
I love that. I keep saying I love that because I just love everything about your journey. It's been such a joy to watch. There were a few things that you mentioned I want to circle back to. I know that you're an active person. You're a CrossFitter. You like to do outdoor recreation. I know you do pole for fun on the side. Tell me about how those things have been impacted by focusing on this nutrition journey.
Trying to stay active while like thinking of nutrition, I think it's really easy. I
Mhm.
think it's so easy. Even if we do go out to eat, looking at the menu, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my vegetables, my proteins, and my starch because my fat is probably the easiest thing to find. So I try not to look for that. But everything else just kind of falls in line to where it's not a struggle. It's not a struggle being active. It's not a struggle eating out, hanging out with friends. There are no temptations in the way because I know what's good for me and how I would feel afterward. And of course, there's always setbacks. If someone brings something homemade and I was like, heck yeah, I want a homemade chocolate chip cookie, I'll eat it. But I don't have any regret about it because I know that I'm not just spiraling on chocolate chip cookies for the next 7 days or something.
That's really key right there. And that's the thing that a lot of us, we do well for 7, 10, 15 days, and then that thing happens, that thing that sets us back, and we feel guilty about it and like we cheated. That's just a recipe for disaster in our psyche. So the fact that you now have the ability to separate that and enjoy the things that you do enjoy and not be tempted anymore by the things that once set you back, but now you know you've got a plan of action and you set yourself up for success in advance, and all of that is second nature, so you're not caught off guard and you can stay consistent to reach your health goals, your fitness goals, which is my next question. What were some of those goals initially coming into this? What did you want physically from like CrossFit and pole and all the other things that you do?
Yeah, I wanted to tone. That's something that, again, you see on the body imaging is you see the abs and you see the toning in the arms. I said, I want that. I need to be active. But where I was missing it was at being active goes hand in hand with nutrition. If you're not eating enough fuel, you're not going to get those gains. You're not going to get what you need. You're going to feel very tired after workouts. You're going to be dehydrated and you're going to struggle and be like, okay, I'm really weak. Why am I so out of breath? A lot of it's based on the nutrition and the fueling that you put into your body. And so going through this program and continuing CrossFit, because I did CrossFit and pole dancing and like sup, like paddleboarding before I started this program, there was no difference. My weight was the same, my body composition was the same. And of course, I'm a woman, so I weighed myself every single day to check on that. And
Yeah.
then I started this program. Within the first couple of months, I could see the difference. And
Mm.
I know that I saw it first before other people noticed it. And that was something that really stood out to me because then I felt good about myself and feeling good about myself had confidence. So when I was confident being in public with friends and confident like wearing like more tighted fitted shirts or showing up to the gym, other people could see that confidence and then they could start seeing the body changes. So for me, it's been life changing. And that's been something that I always focused on before this program was, okay, how do I become muscled? I don't want to become bulky, but I want to become toned. I want to become muscled. I want to eat correct, figure out my life, but also not overwork myself to where I have to work out 3 times a day, every single day. That's just not realistic for someone who's busy.
And girl, you are toned and you are constantly making new gains in the gym. I see you hitting new personal records all of the time. I love that you had this mindset switch, which is kind of the whole reason I started nutrition coaching and personal training is because the same thing happened to me. Once you stop focusing on, I want to be toned, I want a six pack. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those things and wanting them, but when that's what you are fully chasing and focusing on, you are always going to be disappointed and you're always going to beat yourself up. But when you flip that to chasing the nourishment and how to steward your body and honor it, then all of a sudden you turn around and you got the tone, you got the abs. You're like, it's just a weird reverse psychology. And I think the Lord really does that on purpose. So we can focus on glorifying Him instead of focusing on the vanity that the world tells us to focus on. Which brings me to my next question for you. How has incorporating the Bible and your faith and your walk with the Lord just generally, how has that changed the way you approach your food and your fitness?
I think a lot of it is prayer before food. That's something that really went hand in hand because I always prayed before my food, and it was just a whatever I can think of, top of the moment, blurt it out, and then get ready to eat. But now when I pray, I'm praying for the nutrition of the food. I'm praying for the health of the food and health of the body, and I feel mentally clear. So when I'm eating, I'm not feeling the guilt. I'm not closing my eyes, waiting to take a bite the minute my eyes open. Like there's a lot more relief putting God together with the food that He intended for us to eat. And then the second one is like temptation. Because obviously, any program you go through, anything that's different from what you grew up eating, you're going to be tempted to eat that again and to go back into old habits. And so, just having a close relationship with the Lord and having just like some Bible verses in mind of like temptation to stay out of it has really been helpful in my journey to become successful. Even like one, like the Lord's Prayer is just like, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. And I feel like I say that all the time. I see something that I'm just really weak, really tempted, especially now my husband's on deployment at the moment. So who's regulating me? I'm by myself in this house with food.
Yeah.
I'm regulating myself. And that's also why I'd said I need to set myself up for success so that when I am in those moments of temptation, I can pray about it. I can fast. I can get the healthy food that's in the house if I am hungry, because that's all I left for myself. So things like that. I feel like the Bible, having God's just like full support for this, He supports my meal. And I like that. And it makes me happy.
Angelica, that is beautiful. That's incredible. You know, the Bible is our compass for life, right? And I don't know why it took me so long and a lot of us to connect the dots that he talks about this part of our life too. and connecting the nutrition to what he tells us and all of that coming together, there can actually be peace with food and your relationship with your body. And once you get a taste of that, I mean, all bets are off. That's the promised land here on earth, in my opinion. So I think that's incredible that you've discovered that in your prayer life and it's bleeding into this nutrition life. I want to ask you what your favorite part about the Sustainable Way, the whole nutrition coaching program, what was your favorite part about that experience?
Gosh, it's hard to pick one. I did really enjoy the accountability and the group camaraderie because having to send pictures of your food when you start out makes you really realize what you have. Brings a little bit of shame and guilt, but then there's no, I don't know, the encouragement for every picture I sent never made me feel that way. It was just me on my side sending the pic, but I never received anything from you that made me feel, oh my gosh, I'm awful or anything like that. You're like, oh my gosh, coach, check this out. Coach is looking at it. I was like, okay, so she's acknowledging it. And it makes me feel good and feel seen. And that's something that's different from this program. From the program, I really appreciated just the one-on-one that we got.
Mhm.
We have weekly chats and like the weekly videos. And I feel like your program is just easy to follow. It's easy to keep up with. For how busy my life is, I feel that may be dramatic, but for how busy I feel like my life is, where I'm just exhausted after a work shift, I just want to veg out and do nothing. Being able to keep up with your program and sustain it even afterward means a lot to me. The videos, the modules, the PDFs, the support from the people, I feel like it's unique. It's something that I really needed for myself.
Well, dang, I could cry. That means the world to me. I'm so delighted to hear that you felt like you got the support that you needed in a different way. And yeah, if it's not simple, if it's not easy, we're not gonna do it. I get it. I am busy too. All of us are busy in our own lanes doing a million bajillion things out there conquering the world. So yeah, it's got to be easy. So I'm thrilled that you felt that way and you had the accountability without it being what I don't want to do is be like a dictator. I don't want to just point and say, do this. I want to teach and illuminate things for you so that you can have eventually full independence with it. But sometimes it takes a little hand holding to get there. And it sounds like you felt like you got that balance. So amazing. A little tangent question on this. I know that you have read my book. I would love to know your favorite parts about the book, which is called, I actually have it right here next to me, The Guide to Eating Biblically in a Modern World. Oh, she's got it right next to
I have it
her.
right here.
And I know yours has a bunch of post-its and highlights in it. What was impactful about the book for you?
I think having like a manual in my hand was really nice because I try not to keep my phone everywhere I go. So
Right.
having a book with me like this is really encouraging. It's definitely dog-eared and highlighted and sticky noted. The book was good because I felt like I could take it week by week and just reiterating essentially the sustainable way again was very enlightening. I even showed this to my husband. He's like, I love to read. Let's do it. And it's a guide, literally as it says on it, guide to eating biblically in a modern world. It is so easy to understand. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to get a college degree to read this book. Like, I feel like the words are common for the common person to read.
Yeah.
And some nutritionist stuff throw in the biggest words and the biggest research papers and I don't quite understand the point, and then I don't know what my action step is. I even have highlight on here just like homework for myself and prayer at the end, having like the guided prayers at the end of each chapter was really helpful because sometimes I just didn't want to do it. But then I'd pray and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? Why was I saying no?
Did you have any aha moments from reading it?
Oh, a lot, a lot.
What stood
So,
out to you?
um, I honestly, the thing that was kind of like mind blowing was the clean versus the unclean food. So, like, seeing a chart of that blew my mind. I didn't realize that there were unclean food. God made fish, God made pigs, but there's different types of pigs, fish, cattle. So knowing the differences in clean versus unclean, I dog-eared it and I even have it printed on my fridge somewhere. This chart was something that was kind of crazy for me to think about, but it makes sense. It makes sense why some are more clean than others. And as you said in the book, I don't want to put unclean things in my body when I'm working so hard to be clean. That defeats the purpose of what I'm doing because what we eat really reflects on the outside. And one of the biggest changes, the first change I ever noticed in this program was how clear my face became.
Mm.
I still remember the very first conversation I had with you at our group chat was, oh my gosh, my face is so clear. It's not greasy. It just feels better. I feel like I have a glow to me and it's crazy. And I'd point it out to my coworkers. They didn't see it yet because they didn't get it. But as the confidence went on and as I continued the program, they were like, you look different. You look good. I noticed the difference. So it's there.
Amen, sister. Ay, that's so cool. Face clarity is wildly underrated. I've been there myself, and it does make a big difference. But yeah, you're right. The clean versus unclean animals also rocked my world. And even in writing the book, I was like, are you sure, Lord? Like, am I getting this right? I feel like people aren't going to be very happy with me on this. But again, like you said, it makes sense. You think about it and you're like, the Lord knows what he's doing, and that's part of faith, right? We don't always get the answers on this side of heaven. Sometimes you just kind of have to trust your parent that he knows what's best. You may not like it every time, but just because the world says it's okay doesn't mean the Lord says it is. And sometimes we got to face those tough truths, even with food, as I've discovered. And now you know too.
Yes, absolutely.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who listens to this episode in the future, who is maybe resonating with your story, kind of feels stuck, has tried all of the things, just wants to be toned, but ultimately wants to be healthy and live that healthful lifestyle, what would you tell them as they listen to this?
I would say take the leap. It's okay to ask for help. And that's the biggest push. Because if they're anything like my mindset, they've already tried a lot. They've already Googled everything the Google search has to offer. And at some point, they're tired of it. They're tired of trying to count calories, count macros, tired of looking at pictures of, oh, this 30-day ab workout. How come I don't look like that after my 30 days? They're tired of it. So take the leap and just trust the process. Reach out, even just the free consult with you. That was so helpful for me because I knew that, okay, I can talk to you before I just make a decision. And I even had my husband join the call because he was like, I support you 110% on your journey. I want to hear what she has to say too. And let's make sure that this is right for us as a family. And like, we love it. I say take the leap. Take the leap, schedule a consult, and if you don't commit, you don't commit, but at least you know that this is here as an option.
100%. Thank you. Thank you for that. I always want to leave space to prayerfully consider something because I'm the same way. And so that's why I do the consult calls. I want to make sure that what I offer is what you're looking for and can help you. And I want you to feel confident that it will help you because we got to be on the same page about that before we start. I love that your husband was on the call too. We love a good supportive husband around here. So totally welcome that. The last question that I have for you, I'm asking all of the guests who come on the podcast, and it is, what is your favorite form of potato?
Mm, I love a good waffle cut French fry potato. Crispy waffle fry. Chick-fil-A was definitely my go-to. I'm not gonna lie. But I actually fell in love with rutabagas ever since you introduced me to that. Veggies are my thing. And I've been making rutabaga waffle fries.
You are the poster child for the Coach Rain experience. No more Chick-fil-A waffle fries, but now you make rutabaga fries. That is so cool. I need to try that. Waffle fries are up there for me. Just potatoes are so wonderfully versatile and amazing. I don't know if you've seen that meme out there where it has a bunch of different pictures of different kinds of potatoes. And it says, if the Lord can do all of this with a potato, imagine what he can do with you. And I just find a lot of peace and comfort in that. Well, Angelica, this was so fun to catch up with you and to hear your story. Thank you so much for being honest and sharing everything for everyone who listens to this. If someone has a question about your experience, are you willing to give your contact info or like your Instagram handle or something if someone wants to reach out to you and kind of learn a little bit more about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to help people and be like a role model. That's something that really stood out to me with this program. Like I said, I saw you living the dream with nutrition, and I said, I want to live the dream too. Here I am. I want to be an example and help others and guide them towards this program and towards just living and being healthy and not letting food have a hold on you.
Amen. Break those strongholds. Okay, so then where can we find you? What's the best way to reach you?
You can either send me an email, my first name, Angelica period Frazier at gmail.com, or even just Instagram, finding me on there, Angelica underscore Frazier.
I'll
No,
link
I know.
it in the show notes so people can find it there too. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I pray this episode was helpful to you, my friend. If so, could you do me a massive favor and take 30 seconds to write a review? This is the best way to bless me big and help more people learn just how simple eating healthy consistently can be. And if you want more value-packed info from me, head to coachrain.com and sign up for the Weekly Harvest, my weekly emails filled with recipes, how to use food as medicine, biblical nutrition, and more. That's CoachReign.com for the Weekly Harvest. Blessings until next time, sis. Toodles.